Okay, so it's like 4:30 in the morning. We've been up since I think 3. But I was laying there kind of awake, and she was awake, and then it just happened. We just got up. I'm already making brownies, and second cup of tea, and I was having so much going in my mind, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many things I want to say, and they are just all over the place. So be prepared if that's too much for you. It's funny because I know some people can handle it, but some people cannot handle the way I'm just like, "Mwah." So, and also I want to say to Cece is how much I appreciate the information though about the oregano oil. Because I was thinking it was probably spicy hot because oregano is kind of spicy. And so I was thinking, I bet you it's hot if you put it on an open wound, but I hadn't put it on it, but that is what I thought. So I didn't put that directly on her business. I put it in her food. But anyways, I appreciate that information. And it is weird is it did more for me than just that. That's what was really trippy is because it was kind of like already where my mind was like angling with. And in so she said something, then I said something, and then she said something, then I said something, she said something, I said something. And I I was thinking, I don't know, when you break down the conversation different, I just was looking at it like, man, I mean, she just told me the one thing, and I could have just stopped it there. I could have just said, hey, thanks. But I said something back. And it's like, is this how we make this, like, I don't know, not like a competition, but like, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways I could have, different things I could have said because it still ended the same way. It was still, her telling me and then me saying something like, oh, well, like I thought that or whatever. And then her saying, well, I'm just trying to help out. And I was like, I appreciate it and stuff. But I didn't ever have to say, what I already knew or tried. I could have just said thank you. And so that is where I'm saying when you start thinking about like what you say and stuff, you'll start noticing like conversations and like, man, if I would have just said thanks, but I was like, I took up her time and it wasn't, I didn't have like, I got plenty of time. But uh, that is, well, I say I got plenty of time, but sometimes I'm super busy. And it's not like busy, like, oh, I gotta get this job done or something. It's more like I'm just in a different world. I'm doing something, and it's just like the other, like, my phone's not around. I'm just not thinking about that stuff because I'm doing something different. And so I don't know. It's so weird. Like that's what I'm saying. No matter what you say, there's more to it. Everything that you think I'm planting a stake here. I'm saying this. This is what I think, and then there's always more fluctuation. And that's what I was saying. Like, why? It's so weird. Like, why didn't I just say thanks? Like, do I have a problem? Like, and just start reevaluating myself. So then I was like, wow, this is so cool. Because her saying that gave me a great insight into seeing myself and how I communicate and if it's unnecessary on some of the things I say and why would I say this and why would I say that. And I find it powerful to be able to understand yourself or to, I don't know, questioning yourself, I think has value. And so I had that going, but it wasn't just that. It was like more than one thing. Because like, I don't remember, I mean, I could give all this, I don't know, sometimes maybe I give too much detail on stuff. But it was like, it was the afternoon and Stella wanted to go out and, or she was like whiny. She just kept whining. And so I went out to go for a walk, and I saw the neighbor was out working in her yard and doing something. So my dog always wants to go over there. So we went over there and we're hanging out for a while. And she's changing stuff around in her yard and everything. And this car started driving past and was going super, super slow. And she's like, what is up with these cars that keep going past the house like this? This is so creepy. She goes, did you see how it just like stopped in front of yours? And she definitely slowed down as she edged in between our two. She definitely like slowed down. And I think, oh, she knocked something over. I think the neighbor thinks it probably has to do with my foreclosure or something like that. People coming by. I think I win this round with the banks. So we'll see how it plays out. But anyways, I don't think that that's what it is. I think it, and she said that that keeps happening. And she said one of the people was going really slow. She walked out there. She said it was like going almost so like a stop or something. So she walked out there and said, "Can I help you?" And she said the woman didn't say anything. I said, maybe it's a zombie apocalypse. You know, maybe people are just really just like lost or something. Like, I don't know. And so while we were out there, then we went on 2 walks. But no one, I think it was on this, no, I think it was on the earlier one. I don't know. I know on one of the walks that I was walking and there was a car that pulled out and it just stopped. Like there's this little street right there, a couple houses, like there's a house across from me, a house next to them, and there's this street with this new neighborhood they're building back there, the gated community. And so it just pulled up there and just stopped. And so then I was sitting there, you know, and her and I are walking, and so in my mind I start getting all creeped out, and I'm like, you know, are they just watching me? What are these people doing? Now it smells like my brownies are getting burned. Hold on. Well, I don't think they're coming out as good as they did the last time, but I'm sure they'll be edible. As many as I need to eat, they'll be. So, but anyways, so they pulled up and they're just sitting there. And so I start taking it personally. And this is what I'm talking about too, is this perspective. So I start taking it kind of personal. Like, are they watching me? Are they watching me and Stella? Are they watching her because she's a big dog? Are they watching because we're just walking? Are they, what was that? I was like going, you know, are these people who are, especially, you know, when you can get kind of paranoid. Right now in my TikTok account is being like, it's crazy. I don't even get how they do something. Like I'll see as comments, they're not there. I had somebody send me a message and say, I keep trying to like your stuff, but it won't let me. And I was like, oh, I'm really censored. My likes haven't, like that hasn't changed in days. Like they are holding my account totally. I don't understand, you know, how they do all this bullshit. But anyways, it gets you paranoid, especially if Secret Service shows up at your house. And so and then having these guys in this black SUV. This wasn't a black SUV. This was a white one. But white or black, they drive both. And but anyways, so you can get yourself all paranoid, all worked up, and keep thinking like, oh my gosh, is this, you know, are these kidnappers? They're just driving around. Like it could be anything. Whatever you start thinking is your perspective based on something inside of you, your fears, what you think, you know, what's going on. It's what you focus. And then, so I was sitting there and I kept trying to pull myself out of that and think, okay, they could be sitting there on their phone. They could be just sitting there trying to decide which direction to go, like big decision. Or they could be someone just called them. Or it could be they're pulling out and they're trying to get their navigation in. Or maybe their dog jumped and they're trying to hook their dog in. Or their kids started fighting and they're, you know, maybe they're about to go on a big trip. And so it's just weird because we think it's what we think. It's not like we don't have this whole thing about knowing what's going on with them. And it's so wild too, is because it literally is everybody living their own world, their own perspective, their own life. And this awakening thing really is bringing us more into this one where we can see differently, because before we just lived like that. It's like automatically what we thought. It wasn't like that we could project in and see something different. So everything was based on our perspective of what we felt, if it's fear, trauma, PTSD, anxiety, whatever. Everything that we were perceiving, that we thought about the people and stuff. Because I had noticed this too with another thing, because all this is going together over days for me, is that I was talking in one of the conversations with my daughter. I was saying something, and then she took it some way, and then I said something else, and I was like, it's so weird how, like, we all take it, we think it's what we think. It's like how we perceive. And so it was like, I have that realization, and then I'll be shown more. So this is like a real elaboration. It's like, fuck, this is way harder to try and explain, seems like. But maybe I'm making sense. Like, maybe I don't need to go in, totally detail to try and get maybe you just pick up on what I'm saying. Because it is like, whatever we think becomes our reality. That is such a true thing. Because it's like, man, all these different conversations of how I was seeing this. But let me see if I, because like the car down there, like you could totally just keep thinking it's this other thing that is nothing at all what you think. But to you, it's that. And I know so many people live like that. Like, they don't project out of that. It's whatever they think that's what it is. And like, there's all this drama again on the Twitter thing. Well, I think it's moved over to TikTok too. I think it's like kind of blowing up. Another one of these big dramas. Hold on. This is, and I talked about yesterday, I think I shared a video. There's a bunch of videos. But the girl who was crying and making her cake, and then it was getting all this, I don't know, just everybody just goes in and starts choosing sides. It's like, how does it have anything to do with anybody else? This is this couple's own business. And see, this has got an edge of this projection thing and where we go with it. And so she did her video. She has all these people, bashing men and, pulling in that energy. Then the husband guy, so he's got all these people sending him this video of her in this drama. And so then he comes out and starts talking all this smack on her, showing court records and stuff. And saying, she stole $1 million from this guy. She's been in jail for fraud. She doesn't see her kids. She doesn't have custody. She just goes out and parties all the time. And then she goes and does this video like, she's mom of the year and poor her or something. And so then she did a rebuttal back on that. And, but when I saw the rebuttal, because I saw people commenting during the day, like, see you guys jump on and you start supporting this person when you don't have the whole story. And so now she is coming back on him and saying he's Scientologist. He's trying to destroy me. And you guys should fucking know a little bit more, because now I'm getting death threats. And I'm just like, what in the hell? How do people get so invested in somebody else's fucking business that you're going to start threatening one of the partners or the ex-partners, whatever? It's their reality, it's their soul reality journey that they have to work out. Has nothing to do with us. We're observers. Like, but no, there's people who are invested. Like, they are fucking gonna go kill the girl? Like, what? And how much of that is even bots creating that energy, and then that pulls in people who have an emotional tilt to needing to invest in other people's drama. And so anyways, that is just more. And who knows? To me, it just seems like what's coming to the surface is keep your nose out of everybody else's fucking drama. Don't go and get all invested, and don't fucking make death threats to people. Like what? And then fuck that. All that kind of stuff though is should be showing the person who they are. Like you, when the lights come on, like, there should be people being like, fuck, how do I get myself all twisted up in this person's business? I'm going to go out and, take care of it for them or something. It's like, no, this is their shit. It has nothing to do with you. And so that is another thing, how, like, this projection, how whatever we feel, whatever we think, we project what we think and what we feel on other people. That's what we see. And it's meant to be that way. Like before, you got to think of like all the people that you would interact with. But it's weird because your interaction can be so different than their interaction. And you think the interaction's the same, but it's not the same. You're getting different information. You're getting different perspectives. What was it? There was this one thing that I was like, man, this is just so wild. I don't know. I think it's partly is when you can see outside of the 3D world or something, and you see all of this 3D behaviors or behavioral adaptions to the simulation. Which, another thing too. Okay, hold on a second. I told you I was gonna be all over the place because now I'm about to really jump. So hopefully I've made some sense of what I'm saying. But there was this movie I put on yesterday, which was really, really good. It showed so much more dysfunction. And this was a true story. It's called Iron Claw. And it is a true story about this wrestling family. But the projection that this dad puts on his fucking kids, and it gets me because people just don't see like their kids as being separate individuals. They see them as being an extension of themselves, like something they need to control, something that they can continue to live out their dreams through. Something, and I just think differently than that. I think that each individual should develop into themselves, and, everybody's got to face themselves. And so, I don't look at it like this, but I know that there's a lot of parents like this. But like the dad, he was, a wrestler, I don't know, back in the 60s or 70s or something, because this was going on in the 80s, I think it was. But so the dad was into wrestling, and he had these kids, and then his kids were athletic because their dad was like, but you don't even realize how much the dad pushes on these kids. Oh my God, it's just such a tragic story. And it's a true story about this whole thing that you see. Like this dad is so he's like rigid. And then another thing too, it shows so much about like what I have talked about before, because he is totally like tells his sons like, hey, the most horrible thing can happen. They better not fucking, no tear better come out of the goddamn eyes, because that's not a man. And there's so much pressure of his definition. So this is the thing, is how he's defined what a man is, what a man should do, and stuff like that, and then puts all this pressure. We are creating a lot of pressure because it's an individual thing. It's inside of you. It's your lessons and stuff. You can't push your shit on someone else. His kids, like, it's sad. Like, it's really sad. Like, kids are running out of there like, like, I gotta get out of here. And it's rough. And it is, I don't know, like the dad is so stuck in his rigidity or something that he can't put down. There's no vulnerability, there's no softness, and then you gotta also understand that when somebody does that, it's because they're in so much pain themselves. Like, and I think he also, his own insecurities, felt that his kids were a reflection on him, so that made him put more pressure on them. And there was a big thing, and it was really cute on some parts because, yeah, these all these sons, and all these sons just loved each other. Oh my gosh, at some points it seemed like this family is so in love with each other, and such a happy, these farm boy family, and they all get along so well. They just like to hang out. They're just wholesome. But then, you would start seeing the pressure that the dad put on, and no empathy or compassion. I mean, and you don't have a distinction of an individual. You do what you're told. It's like some parents are like trying to form their own little droids, like their own little obedient droids in their family, not trying to, be a safe place for somebody to bloom and blossom and become themselves. It's way more of a, like, you will be in who I want you to be. You will act the way I want you to act. You will speak the way I want you to speak. You'll speak when spoken to. Like, and there was a lot of those kind of rules. Like when I was growing up, there was a lot of these kind of men. When this other generation, like, they don't understand when they're being judgmental of some of these men who are older men now. They don't understand how these men grew up, and they don't understand, like, the rigidity that was created in this patriarch society, of, like, where there's a lot of men, that start trying to pull free, or out there wearing makeup and putting on dresses and stuff. Oh yeah, there was another movie too that I watched. Okay, so I tried to watch also, there's this new Sasquatch movie, and I haven't been able to get through more than a few minutes of it. My one daughter told me it's really, really weird. You should watch it. It's really good, but it's weird. And so I started turning on, but it's like, man, we have too many feelings about Sasquatch. Like, this is irritating me. That they make them, like, I would look at these way more as primitive man than Bigfoot. I look at Bigfoot as a more spiritual, more intelligent being than we are. And they made Bigfoot into this, like, I don't know, just it has no abilities for communicating other than like that. It just has sex and grunts and groans and has no idea what it's doing. Well, that's how the fucking Sumerian tablets about the beginning of man, when they were working on. That was one of the things why they destroyed the first round, was because they were like that, and making all these noises, grunts and groans, and just get on top of each other like animals, and they couldn't stand it. They were grossed out. And I was like, why are they, this is weird that they're doing this on a Bigfoot. And why are they trying to tell people Bigfoot have no intelligence? I think Bigfoot is very intelligent, and I think it's multidimensional. And the thing that is, that another thing too that had come into my mind was that when you think about, like, this being an illusion, a hologram or whatever, and you think about all these different things, and you think about, like, what's real, what's even real, and but it's like when we all have a combined reality thing, like, well, Bigfoot's obviously real. Like, I knew Bigfoot was real a long time ago. I didn't need everybody else to tell me. I already knew. But that the Bigfoot, for us to all be able to acknowledge, oh, there's a being that looks like this, and that is what, we refer to it as Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever. And so there's all of us who can see, just like, then that is real to me. But man, saying this, see, like, I can hear it on so many different levels. Oh man, it's so weird. I swear to God, that's a part of our language thing. Why they wanted to get people off of their own languages and get them into this English language. Because there's so many fucking words you can take in so many different ways. So weird. And I notice that all the time in the titles, because the titles just come to me at the end of the thing. And I'm always like, oh my gosh, this could be taken in so many different ways. I always find that interesting. It all depends on how you read it, how you look at it, how you perceive, how you think. Like this guy yesterday, he tried to tell me, the I am is your I don't even know. Well, it's like you know, I don't have to try and know it through his vision. That is a thing. It's through your perception. It's how you perceive. If that's how you perceive what the I am is, I'm not gonna argue with you. To me, the I am is therefore I am. The I am is the reality of the understanding, because you are there, that you understand yourself. Like you're there because you fucking claim you're there. The I am is I am. I am. I am. So, when you hear different things, like there's not a set thing. Like, oh, well, this guy said it's this, so that's the only thing it is. Like, I haven't even heard like what he's saying. I've only heard, I am, therefore I am. So, and that makes sense to me. But it's all through how you perceive. And we are all different perceptions. We're all different perceivers. We're all like from different places and different realities and different vibrations. And but what I'm saying is like, to know like, okay, the Dracos, like, so there's a whole set of this, there's a whole set of Pleiades, there's a whole set, like, to know that there's these other things. So therefore, they exist because we all know. So that is other places and other realities you can go to. It's not just like nothingness. That man, this is, because all this makes so much sense, but when I start trying to say it, it's like, fuck, this is not coming out the way but anyways, so the reality of and you can go into, this is weird, whatever's on the TV. This is supposed to be 4:32, and I don't know, I've never seen it do this before, but it's got like these two things circulating and it's changed sounds. It's weird. My phone is doing weird stuff. There's a lot of weird stuff. My phone is like doing weird stuff, turning the color down and stuff. But let me think what I was saying. So the Bigfoot thing, to me, they're intelligent beings. That all of these different things are other possibilities. Oh yeah, because the dream realm thing. Like, to me, like the dream realm seems like different right now, like more calmer or something. Like, yeah, just as soon as I pick it up, just as it stops. Like, I swear to God, there's like, it always seems like there's something watching. And I know that there really is, but I don't know. It seems like, I don't know, I live different than other people because I feel like that there's more going on all the time. Like there's somebody taking care of things that you don't have to take care of. So, anyways, and it was going to change anyways, but it's just weird on timing. Like you just start noticing like a lot of things with timing. And then plus the thing about timing is so fucking perfect. Like every interaction is set. Like, just think throughout the day, like every little fucking car that moves is moving at the exact second it's supposed to move. And if it were to go too fast, something would happen to slow it down. I mean, everything is moving exactly how it's supposed to move for every interaction. Everything is like gears in the universe of like click, 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 like everything is so perfectly timed. And I don't know, it's like fascinating to me. The thing that I think is just so crazy is because it seems like that all that stuff isn't crazy, but it is this leaving this concept of what they've told us. That's the part that makes it seem so crazy, because it's just our minds have been so confined, and breaking free from the structure and having to open it is it's challenging, but it's also it's Okay, I guess that's the word. It's challenging. So the rest went blank. So, anyways, the I'm feeling like oh no, this is weird. Okay, so the let me think of this other movie thing. Okay, the Sasquatch thing that was bothering me. I thought that was strange. But then there was something else I put on that there was another weird thing that I wanted to say. Um, what was it? How's that going blank? Okay. What is it I'm supposed to be talking about? That's what would be a lot better. It'll be a lot easier. Um, okay. This this girl. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so this is a nurse and she was saying about you know the thing I'm always talking about, like I wouldn't want anybody else's parts. And I keep saying that's the biggest money, you know, I think it's over the traffic problem. I think the parts, the parting things out, parting people, I think that's where big money comes. And it's weird. It's still, it makes no sense to me. It has to be that these parts are not just going to us. Like it really makes no sense to me that it could be. I mean, people are taken off the streets and stuff. Like, I. So, anyways, this nurse is saying that now they're saying that everybody who's had these. So, if you've had these, you can get new parts. If you haven't had any of these, you don't get to have any new parts, but you can give your parts. So you're supposed to give your parts if you have not had these. But if you have had these, you can take the parts. So you got the giver and the taker. And there's no, it doesn't make any sense. So, but all these things are what's supposed to keep coming up to get you to question things. All this, like I said, like all these back and forths, all this like more information over here, more information over there. There's another, I don't know if it's a rapper, I don't know who all these people are, but another one just spilling more and telling about Jay-Z, like there's going to be more. It's going to keep going. And when you go in and you watch some of these other videos, these reaction videos, then you can see how deep this is in this culture. Like this is really important what is happening with all of this disclosure. It really is like waking people up in a certain group. Like all these different groups, there's a purpose to all this. And it all has to do with this awakening. And it really is getting people to talk about things and think about things and to look at things differently and pulling people free from the mind control that's been there because people didn't realize like how controlled their minds were and how they were being used. And it's kind of like when I got my surgery and the one, you know, when I was focused on it and it was like, oh, you can build it way up it more in your mind. Like, oh my God, he's moving his hand in there. And I was like, are you putting in the drains now? Like I can feel the whole thing. And it was really weird and uncomfortable feeling. And then the nurse came over and started talking to me. So when you did the other side, in the distraction, I didn't notice anything. I didn't feel anything. Nothing. And even when he said, okay, I'm popping it now, I'm draining the stuff out, you're going to feel it wet. And the girl who was sitting next to me, she's like, you know, like a dog. I don't remember what she did, but that's what I felt like. You know, look over here, pay attention, pay attention. And then as soon as I shifted my mind back on her and went back into telling stories, then she just started asking me, you know, and she was asking me about like how I got the brain injury, and I was telling her about that doctor and how he ended up in the bottom of a fire pit, dismembered and stuff. And that was not of my doing. That was his son. The son he was trying to protect all the time, getting into more crimes that like, so everybody's got their fucking lessons and stuff, and everything in life shows you what will you do. And that is so out there in our world. Like, I just saw this other woman, and I've made some comments on some people's things today. So, is this one? So this woman, and there's so much of this. Like, it's like everybody's just turned into beggars. Like, and even something she said. She said, "This is pushing me." Um, something into desperation, but she wants to just go into the mental hospital. She wants to give up on things. She just is like, she can't handle it. And she's got 2 cats, an 11-year-old son, and the 11-year-old son's starting to act up because they're about to be homeless. And she is just like devastated. She doesn't know what she's going to do. She just wants to go in the mental hospital, but she can't do that because she has to take care of her son and all this stuff. And she's begging for money, somebody to pay, get them a place. And there's so much of this on the internet. And in my comment, I said, well, from a spiritual perspective, everything happens for a reason, and it's pushing you in a different direction. And there's nothing wrong with being homeless. Like, where in this country have we come up with, like, if you go to other countries, they don't all live like how we live. And we think this is the only way to live. Well, okay, that's a limitation. And so, and it's a trap. Then it's like, you're out there begging, please, here's my GoFundMe, here's my LinkedIn, here's my this, here's my, send me money, I need money. It's like, you guys, do you not see the trappings? Do you not see what's happening? How they get us? And so she, wants somebody to come in and solve it for her and fix it for her, but she's not switching her perspective of like, you know what, son, we will fucking make it. I even said, look into, what is it called? Look into communal living. That is a whole bunch of that popping up everywhere. There's all sorts of people who are out there trying to build little communities. They've bought land and they're telling people to come out there, bring your tent, bring your camper, and let's start building our community together. And there's all sorts of people doing that. And so it's like, you got to start thinking outside the box. This is what is trying to be shifted for us, is to get us to think outside the box, not just keep trying to get in the box. The box is dumped out and you're like, no, let me in. It reminds me of, and this was traumatic to me, because it was a few years ago. And I was doing something in the bathroom and there was a spider. So I got it in the little thing and I took it outside and I tried to dump it out. And it wouldn't come out. It ran back up in the thing. It's like, fuck no, I'm not going out. What the fuck is this? So I dumped him a little bit harder. And then I was trying to put him on top of this tree thing I have, and he fell. Oh my God, this is so haunting to me. I feel so bad because I feel like, oh my God, he was so scared. And I forced him to come out because I'm sitting there thinking, no, you're a spider. You'll love it out here. This is way better. And then, house spiders can't be outdoor spiders. But this one seemed like an outdoor spider. This seem like an outdoor spider that got inside. But I don't know. It could have totally been born here, lived, I don't know. And what was even worse was he had a friend. I had this basket thing. And I had all these toilet papers in it. And so the one spider, he came out and was sitting there, watching me and stuff. So I went and I put him outside, and then I had this whole traumatic thing where he fell, and then I couldn't find him, and then I didn't know he was hurt, and then I felt guilty. I even put a cup out. I put the cup out there. I just donated the cup out there to him in case he found it so he could find a home. Like, I don't know, I'm so weird. And so then when I went in again, he had a friend. And his friend was coming out and looking for him. And he was sitting there looking at me. And I couldn't do it. I just had to leave him. And his friend was mad. He would keep coming out and looking for me, looking at me and stuff. I was like, oh my God, I broke up this odd couple. They were 2 different kinds of spiders, but they were living in this same thing. And I could tell, like, this one kept looking for the other one. And the way he would come and stand and look at me, he reminded me like of a little bulldog. He'd come out and look at me like, no. And I think it seems like, I don't think I tried to move him, but it seems like I don't know, maybe he was hunting me down in the bathroom so he didn't look at me, because it seems like he was over on the sink one time. Like I just was like leaving him be. Um, I don't know. He disappeared or died or whatever, but I just felt bad. That was a haunting thing. And why was I talking about it? Um, oh, because that's what it feels like. Is that so many people are the spider? They're so scared of everything. They just keep running back up in the cup where the money is. Give me some money. Somebody hold me up here with the money. Give me money. I need money. And it's like, you don't need money. Where they told, I mean, they've created a reality based on their currency, but you can go out and live other ways. You know, I just like there was always homesteading laws. None of us were ever looking into them. We were just trying to get into the city to get the best job, to get that best house, the best deal. And oh yeah, what is that? There's another thing happening with the money thing, with the oh yeah, this is weird. This is okay. So now you got to watch out for this manipulation. This is some bullshit you got to look through. So in Florida, now all of a sudden there's a zillion rental houses, zillions of them. Like this guy showed on a map thing, all of the houses for rent in these little purple flag things. And there's tons. He said there's thousands and thousands. And then he has a friend who has a rental and they have to keep lowering it, lowering it, lowering it. No one's moving into these rentals. And so the the renter people are saying they're lowering it and whatever they're doing to try and get the people to move in, but nobody will move in. But so this guy doing this video is saying all the houses for sale are going up and up and up. You can't afford to buy one. But now all these rentals are going down, down, down. So you're way, and it was like he was saying you're way better off renting. You're just better off renting. Like, how can anybody afford this and the interest and shit? Just go rent. And I was like, oh my God. So see how they fucking manipulate? So everybody's houses gets destroyed in storms and stuff. And then the LLCs and the corporate entities and stuff have been busy buying up these houses. You know, I've been fucking doing it for goddamn 30 years. Like I was dealing with that in Spokane when I moved up there and the houses were so cheap. It was all being bought by investors, all of it. And there's a total housing crisis there. Like the rent has gone so jacked up because Spokane used to be like more, I won't say rural, but compared to Seattle, it was way smaller. Like the downtown there is still the old brick buildings and stuff. There's this really cool big river that goes through downtown. Like it's really cool. And it has a big giant park. Like it's I don't know. It's a nice smaller kind of city. And so what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so they have driven the housing up now where they're trying to start, charge prices for the executive apartments and stuff like it's fucking Seattle. It's like, it's all so fucking bullshit. But the way this guy was doing it, where, okay, so now all of a sudden all the rentals are all of a sudden going down. So you see how, like, there's a sale to get everybody to go in a certain direction. And so, oh, here, everybody go into rentals because they've already said you will own nothing and be happy. It's fucking all a part of their scam. And then you got these people who are all desperate. See how easy it is to just, well, it's first month free, no deposit. The rent's down for the first 6 months or whatever. It's negotiable. Like, what, I don't know what their lure is that they're trying to lure people in with. But that's the game they play. And it's all to get us to shift into owning nothing, just being their little workers. And then there's this mindset, this desperation. Well, I just need money. I need money. And I've got a child and I've got all this, like all these people who can't take care of themselves, stressed out because they know in their hearts, I think, that they can't take care of themselves. And they're scared and they've got all this responsibility and stuff. But that is the soul lessons. See, that's the soul journey. That's the stuff they're here to learn. And a lot of it is to see their own resilience, their own abilities, because they've been stifled. And so this is an opportunity to see like what you're made of. Like you can do so much more. Like the neighbor next door, she was out there, doing some stuff, and she was saying this one thing, it was really hard. And I said that's the thing that I had learned too, is like being on my own. I would run across things that would be so hard. Sometimes you're like crying and it's so hard, but then you do it and then you realize like, fuck, man, like I can do some shit. I'm like stronger in ways that I didn't know. I'm tougher, I'm more resilient. Like you start seeing parts of yourself when you are pushed. Like you got to be pushed. And so, and you got to be able to push yourself, and even in the conversation. And I was saying, like if I was living some cushy life at this age, I wouldn't be as strong. I wouldn't be able to do all of this stuff. It has pushed me, like even the eating, cooking from scratch and stuff, being out from the restaurants. Like if I was living close to the restaurants, that would have been a way harder thing to break free from. It was way easier for me. It's like, fuck, I gotta drive long ass ways to get to a restaurant. Like, fuck, I'll just cook it. And then it gets you into like trying to duplicate things that you've had out. Like, oh, well, that was really good. I bet I could make something like that. And you start like, it starts expanding your creativity and skills in your cooking when you start pushing in a different direction. But, that was just the universe giving me that extra leverage of having me so far from the restaurants. It was easy to just be like, well, I'm not going there. And, it's harder for people to break free from when the availability. So, anyways, there's a lot of things, like, I don't think I would be in as good a shape, if I was just, especially, like, if I was still living, like, in Spokane, say, and I was just going out, like, who even knows, like, I'm telling you, there is no woulda, shoulda, coulda. Everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Because it's just so weird when you start looking back on things and just think, because so many people look back on things and think, well, what if I would have done this? It could have gone that way. What if I would have done that? It could have gone that way. But there's also, what if I would have done this and it could have gone that way? What if I would have done that and it would have went that way? Like, what if I wouldn't have even been here at this point? Like I couldn't even believe this morning when I went in, because I got the magnesium pills again. Then I've been forgetting to do the spray. But who knows how much magnesium's in the spray? And maybe I'm not taking enough mineral salts. But so I got the magnesium. I've taken it for a few days now. But I feel like it's starting to change again faster. And so we'll see. Like, it's always so weird with this light on like this, because I feel like the hair is looking so much darker and blending in so much more. Trying to see if I can get it, because sometimes like I'll the way it will fall, I'll be like, man, you can barely even see it. So anyways, I have that little change going out, but I stopped the selenium. I didn't really see that much, and I think I took it a couple months, whatever, how many pills it comes with, 90 pills or something. So then I would have taken it like 3 months, and then I didn't really notice that much difference for me. So maybe I don't have a selenium deficiency. Maybe my DNA or my body doesn't need as much selenium as somebody else's. Like, we're all structurally different. We're all very unique. Like, you couldn't just all go and say, well, just fill them up with unleaded. No, we're all very, well, you gotta have a little of this, a little of that. We need it very defined to what our needs are. But we have to figure that out. We have to figure out what our needs are. And these people who, claim to be here to help us, they're here to help their pocketbook. They're here to, take the parts of us that don't work or that they want to make it where they can just take our parts. Oh, and if you didn't watch that video, it just is so weird how they just take the heads off, and they have it on a conveyor belt in the first part of the video. It's very creepy. the way that the science wants us to lean into. Like, yeah, just go with the lab rat thing. You know, we're trying to do this. What's good for the world? Oh yeah, okay. That was the other movie. It says Newcastle After Dark put a movie on when I was going to bed, and I was like, oh hell yeah. And because I like older scary movies and stuff, and it was one that I had seen before, but and it was a sci-fi one. It was this Philadelphia experiment. So they made a movie about the Philadelphia experiment, but you can look up more about the Philadelphia experiment then. And you know, the movie definitely is not completely, I mean, it has stuff that is real, but I don't know if all of, I mean, I don't know that there's a guy who really went through the space time, ended up in the future, and stayed in, like, you just have to watch it. But it does have some stuff about it, you know, how the scientists, it was, it was even this one part, because these guys are during World War II when this was happening, and they were doing this to try and say that they were hiding the ship. Like, so they have these scientists, and they are doing something with frequency and energy and stuff, I think. And so they're making it so the ship can't be seen on radar by the German radar, and so they're trying to make it invisible. But whatever they do, they make the ship go into a different realm, a different reality. It left ours and went into a different one. And they're so, like I've said, they're like they're all around us. And so you can shift into a different one, and it can be into a different time, into a different place. It can be all different things. And so it shifted into some kind of a different thing. I swear to God, there was a thing that the guys did say that they went into a different time and then they came back. I think that there's a thing about that. Oh, maybe it is the guy who tells about it. He was an old man. Maybe he is the role of the guy in the movie. Because there is like an old man, like on his deathbed, I think, that told about that they had shifted into a different time, and then they came back, and when they came back, it was like, you know, the movie The Fly or something. It didn't go so smoothly, and when they came back, there was a lot of guys that they said that they were stuck in like the ship and the people kind of merged, and so the men became a part of the ship. Like they were in walls and stuff, like a lot of weird stuff. They showed that a little bit in the movie, like a guy like half there and half in the ship or something. But there was a whole weird, horrible thing that happened about that. And in this movie, though, the scientist that did that is the same scientist this years later still doing it. Just, and this guy who jumps time goes up and sees him, like he deals with him when he's young, but then he goes up and he deals with him when he's old. But when he's in the car, like these two soldiers that are from World War II, and they start figuring out they're in a different time, and they ask the girl, like, well, you know, where are they and stuff. So they ask who won the war. And when she says, it's just like, you know, this is the fucking lie that they told us the whole time. Like, it has always been these crazy, mad scientists who have been working on it. Just, and even in this movie, when the guys first, because they, whatever happens and they go through this portal and they're going through like the tunnel thing. To me, it's like what I had said before. Like, to me, it's like this record turning thing. Like if you're in the portal space or something, it's like there's like all these realities all around you, and so they were going down through it, and then they landed in this one, and so they didn't know where they were. They were being attacked immediately by where they landed. And so they didn't know what was going on. And so they just keep walking and walking and walking and running and all that stuff. But while they're doing that and talking, they keep discussing, like, maybe they're not even really there. You know how the government gives you these drugs and stuff. They're probably testing, like they said it was a test. They're probably testing drugs. They're testing drugs on our mind. We're not really here and all that stuff. I was like, see? And it was right there in the movie because that is true. They did have been the whole time on soldiers go in and sign their thing away, and prisoners they've been testing on them. People who go into mental facilities, testing on them. Like it's always been, and now they've got it to where the general populace has just jumped on board with their stuff. Like experiment on me, experiment on me. Everybody, like taking injections, all their stuff. I mean, their surgeries. Like I should have never ever let them cut into my body from the very beginning. And but I mean, I didn't know. It wasn't something my guides told me, or if they did, I wasn't listening. So it was part of my lessons. It was part of what I was supposed to be learning. But now I've seen, like, we shouldn't be letting them cut into us. It's like cutting into an illusion, cutting into, it's a disruption. And then to take parts out, and they're not flesh and blood. I don't know, it's weird. It's so weird. The whole thing is so weird. Just, it's weird, to come to terms with that we're not on this planet spinning out, especially when they put so much pressure on us to believe this story, spinning out in space and stuff. They're still continuing the story with all the stuff with space. Oh yeah, and that fucking Degrassi guy, he's got a real creepy interview out right now. It has to do with, eating people and stuff. But he's one of the paid scientists. He's a sellout, I think. And you know who else is on my mind too is Stephen Hawking. Like, I don't know if you could say he was a sellout. I don't know. If he ever had any control, or if he was just being used. Like, if he ever, because I think that's some bullshit. I think that was bullshit. Especially if you see his translator and you see him talking. It's like ridiculous. Like Steven's sitting there all crunched up in a wheelchair, and he'll be like that. And then the guy will be, oh, and he said that time and space is of a, goes through this whole fucking thing. I was like, really? I think he just said, and we all like, oh, really? So he's a genius. He knows everything. Whatever they tell us he says, that's got to be the truth. Even though he just says, the translator says more. So what is the translator reading? A script? Like, are they telling him? The computer says he said this. It's like, okay, this is some bullshit. But all of these different scientists that they've had out there leading us and telling us, it's all been, just people who have sold out. Like, they aren't telling us the truth. Seems like Tesla was trying to tell us the truth. And there was a lot of scientists that have tried to tell us the truth, but they get a red tie. The people who will go along with the program, they get, put up on a pedestal. So they become like our role models, but it's forced on us. We're not making decisions over it. It's always in this one heavy in the cream kind of situation. They're putting a whole bunch of what they want and, not giving us the whole thing and letting us think for ourselves and decide for ourselves what we believe. Like, think about that. Like, everything that we think is like forced on us to see it in a certain way. That's what you're trying to break free from. You're trying to break free from, everything that you thought was real. Even your own self. Because you're not the real self that you would be if you understood what was going on. You're your adapted self. You're the self that you use to adapt to this environment. And so then you have to start. It's kind of like, you got to start figuring out how to take the flippers off, how to to change yourself into your new environment so that you aren't just still, uh, it's like the sink or swim kind of situation. But you got to change the thing. And then when the change comes in, you can't just sit there and fight and scream and whine and cry to stay where you are. And like, even for this woman, like, what is your plan? So you get somebody to pay your stuff. Then what? Then what's next? You got to make real changes. And if living in a home and in a town, in a city or something isn't working, there's other ways to live. Like, there's other places to go. Like, you can't get so stuck on this. This is the only way. It's the only way. You got to have a college education. You got to have 2.1 cars. You got to have, no, 2.1 kids. Like, how the fuck do you do that? And 2-car garage. You got to have a couple cars, a couple toys. Like, all the stuff that they tell us that we need in order to be happy. This is what you need. This, if you have this, you'll be happy. It's like, no, I think all we do is sit there trying to get these things, working our asses off, trying to get these things, thinking it's going to make you happy. Any of us who have gotten them have seen, like, no, it's not going to make you more happy. Sometimes it'll make you more stressed. Sometimes then it's like, fuck, I got to watch over for this too. Now what am I going to do? I got to keep up with this. I got to protect this. It's like, it's not something that's just going to automatically make you happy. And it is, we all have different things that make us happy. Why are they trying to tell us it's just this one thing? Do this and you'll be happy. Get this and you'll be happy. And there's just so many people who believe this shit. Like, fuck, you can see. There's just so many people on, especially on TikTok, just selling your shit all the time. Just trying to sell your shit. Oh, you need it. It worked for me, so you need it too. And then I feel kind of, weird because then I say about the copper cup and, like, everybody should get it. Everybody should be drinking out of a copper cup. And thinking everybody, has the same needs or something. And I'm not, that's why I keep trying to say, I'm not, you have to figure your own self out. The copper deficiency is common, like, because there used to be other ways that we got copper. And I would assume it was probably because we knew we needed it. And they knew we needed it. So then that's why they were like, well, let's get rid of these copper pipes. Let's get rid of all the copper out of reality. That because in some of these resets stuff, these people, they reset with it. That is kind of weird. Oh, okay. Yeah, because this ascension, that's different than the reset. The ascension, this is like the spiritual awakening. This is the spirit becoming known to itself and to stop being just the mindless player in a game or something. But the reset, like, there's been a bunch of resets. And so they know some of this stuff. Like, they know the benefits of copper and stuff. There's a reason why they take it out. It's not like just by accident. But although they do want to push their stuff on us, all their plastic and stuff, and get us to buy stuff, like, every fucking time I open a package, every time, it just is like, oh my God. And then it just brings me back to the whole Tylenol thing, when they pushed it on us that we needed more safety packaging. Like, it wasn't like that before. Like, when we were younger, or for me, when I was younger, back in the 60s and 70s, it wasn't like how it is now. Like, your milk was delivered at your door in a glass thing, and you'd set out your glass things of how many you wanted. And, I mean, that's like fresh milk or something. Like, the milk would come, and then the milkman would go around and go deliver it to everybody's door. So you would just have a bottle of milk with a lid on it sitting, and they were glass jars. There's a brand that's doing the same kind of glass jars as it used to be. It makes it look like the old-fashioned kind of milk thing. But that's how it used to be. And it would go on your door. You went to the store, things weren't in all these packages. It wasn't all these boxes. There definitely wasn't like 10 million boxes of food packages. I swear to God, it was like shake and bake and rice-a-roni. That just, Betty Crocker, all of these companies just went off and made a whole shit ton. Because it's all just these bunch of chemicals and shit. So it was easy just to add some chemicals, add some different spices, and call it a different meal and sell it in boxes. Our whole fucking grocery stores are full of fucking boxes of fucking chemicals now. And, but used to, like, even if you went to go get pills, you didn't have all this packaging. And so then they did a whole, what they always do. And so somebody went into a store, supposedly, and they decided to put cyanide pills inside a Tylenol bottle because, what else are you going to do? And then somebody went home and took them and died. So everybody freaked out. It was all on the news, and everybody was so scared. Then they did it again. There was a couple. I don't know. You'd have to look it up and look back to see. And then plus they can change their shit in their historical events and say it was different than it was. But so some people died, and it wasn't a whole bunch of people. It seems like it was less than 10, but that changed everything. Everything had to have safety wrapping. That's why we have to have these little things on there, and then it has to have a box, and it has to have plastic around it, because that's people who make money off of that. They got to make some money, so how can we make money if we don't use the packaging? Well, let's force the packaging on them. Let's scare them. Let's make sure that they think they need the packaging. So now all we have is fucking packaging. Like, these fucking people make money just off of this bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Like, it's so fucking aggravating. And that's why I say, too, is like, the more decades you have of this stuff, the more information you have, because the more experiences you see, more bullshit. Fucking decades. And so, but right now, they've got so much control over so many people that don't have as much experience, and they've created so much division between the people who have more experience, who have seen more, because they don't want the crossover. But it's going to, like, there's no getting away from it. Like, the ripple effect goes. Like, we all connect. We all start having these, pulling ourselves into ourselves, pushing ourselves in directions even when it's hard. Like, hopefully this lady will, push herself. I bet, she can fall apart, go to the hospital, leave her son. Like, so much of this kind of stuff is going on. So much stuff it just shows you in our society how, so many people who call themselves adults, but they're still just broken children. They haven't healed from their own wounds. And then they're trying to have more responsibility, pets and kids and all of this stuff. And so it's overwhelming to them. They think it's going to give to them, but instead it takes from them. Just like how they tell you, go buy this, and get that. And then pretty soon, you got a storage thing. You got to have security. You got to have this. You got to have that. You got all this stuff. You got to protect it. It's like, it's just more and more of a trap to keep you more and more busy. And then you, of course, are going to feel like, fuck, I got all this shit. I'm still not happy. What the fuck is wrong? And then, go and get their pill, because that'll probably help you. I just saw a video of this guy who started taking Prozac, and his skin has turned brown. Like, he doesn't just look like a browner person. It looks like it doesn't look like a natural color. It looks weird. It's like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, something is not going with his. As soon as, if you start taking something, you start having some weird reaction, and your doctor keeps saying, keep taking it, you are got to be the one who says, no, I'm not going to keep taking it. If your body is showing signs of something, be sure that there's something going on that you're not seeing. Like, that is where your body sends you signals and signs. It's showing you. That is what it's speaking to you. People just don't realize, like, your body is trying to communicate with you. I mean, so you got to tap in and tune in to your body's communication. And, like, this guy's fucking turned Like, he literally looks almost black. And then when you see his before and after, like, he was the same color as me, and now he's like, like this color right here. That's what his skin looks like now. And that can't be healthy. I don't even know what the fuck. And then you go to these, doctors and ask them, and they don't know. They don't know shit. They don't even fucking put it together that we're goddamn being poisoned every day. They got people coming in, oh, you got cancer, you got this, you got that. It's like, when are you going to figure out where this shit is coming from? Because the rest of us have. Like, there's goddamn fucking chemical assault on us. I'm like, yeah, we're going to get sick. And then the goddamn, the weakness that they create, and then the fucking filling the whole thing with parasites and shit. And the parasites that drain all of your life force. They drain everything of nutrition, which barely have any anyways. Especially people sit there and they'll eat and eat and eat fucking 10 shit, so much stuff, trying to feel like that they've got some kind of nutrition, or they feel full, or feel like they don't need to keep eating. But they keep eating and eating and eating because there's no goddamn nutrition in it. And instead of thinking like, okay, I got to figure out like where I can find more nutrition. Like, I saw this girl, I thought this video was good too. It was a young girl. And she's like, I can't eat anymore. I'm just so fucking over this. I can't fucking eat. And it's not because of I don't like to eat. I'm, a toxic food problem. Like, she's like, I want to eat, but I can't eat because all this shit is fucking poison. Once you know it's all poison, how can you fucking eat it? And so she was saying that if that fucks with your head too much, which, we already know that. And she said, I wish they would just come up with a little fucking pill that just was all the minerals and nutrients I need. I can just take that. What have I been saying? And I think there's going to be more and more and more people are going to feel like that. I think this is where we're going to start going more towards where we're going to end up. Like, fuck, I just need this little pill. It's got all my nutrients. Why am I sitting here eating and eating and eating and eating and eating? And then we turn it into, well, it's got good flavor. It's got a lot of butter and cream and sugar and stuff. It's like, tastes so good. So then we just packing on the pounds, and we're just eating and eating and eating. We can't get full, and we're confused. And then we're still trying to chase that dream so we can feel happy. It's like, we got to just turn everything around. We got to just drop everything and stop and look around and go like, okay, wait a minute. Like, I'm going in the wrong direction, just like this woman. I'm going in the wrong direction. I'm about to be homeless with my kid and my cats, and I'm begging for someone to save me. You got to fucking figure out how to save yourself. And then you got to start thinking outside of the box. You got to look for more possibilities. There's a range, That's fucking goddamn. Micro, macro, yes. We got to get out on the range. Free stallions. We got to get out there and stop being in their fucking habitat thinking that this is the only way to live. This is all we got. And then they fucking fuck with us like, oh, rent's going down, rent's going up. Oh, the house is going down. Oh, it's fucking bullshit. Because there is so much, like, if we would have realized before about the homesteading, just the whole thing about, like, if you have your family buried on your property, that is your property. It's like, they can't fucking take it. But then you look at what they've done to the indigenous people. It's what the indigenous people have been complaining about, that they take away their burial grounds and stuff. So, but all of us have to keep standing up for our rights. They're going to keep pushing on our rights and pushing on our rights and pushing on our rights until we all start really realizing we have them. And we start saying, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pay your fucking inflated insurance. I'm not going to fucking play your games with the housing and stuff. Like, you're better off getting a fucking tent, getting a goddamn, the tiny out, like a shed, and getting it moved out on somebody's property that has opened their property up to people who want to build community, and just start out there. Even a camper, a bus, to think like, no, me, my kid, and my 2 cats, we're going to live in a car. We're going to live over there on 19th and 70th, and we're going to stay there. We got to be close to the free food or something. It's like, dude, no. When things are falling in a certain direction, it's pushing you in a different direction. You don't just keep holding on. No, go in a completely different direction. And I would imagine things are going to, if she's going to really try and do that in that way, and it's stressing her out and all that stuff, that it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse until you go in a different direction. When you go in a different direction, then you will be applauded. Your soul will be like, oh, yes, yes, okay, now we can get to work. I can show you. There's a way better plan. We got so much better. Because, like, it could be pushing her because, she's supposed to go in this other direction and, start thinking outside the box. And then she's going to come across people who are going to help her or be a part of her life. I mean, maybe she's going to meet her husband out there and he's got a house. Like, but over here where all the homeless people are trying to struggle and fight for that fucking, one last box of food they got. And that they got people all, frustrated. And then they introduce, like, that's where you're going to find all the drug dealers and shit, because that's where all the sadness, the depression, the hopelessness, they got to keep you there. But you're allowing it by not believing in yourself and going in a different direction, not understanding that the universe is pushing you to find yourself, pushing you to see your own strength, to see your own resilience, to champion you, because you're just going to keep on trying to hold on as the victim. Like, poor me, all this bad stuff happens and I don't know what to do, and I just got to stay here because I'm desperate and I don't know, I'm so scared. It's just like that spider. The universe is trying to dump you out of the cup and you're just running back up in the cup. No, I got to stay in the cup. I got to stay in the cup. But the universe will keep dumping and you will fall and it will hurt. It will only get worse when the universe pushes you in a certain direction. If you don't recognize the path and go in that direction, then some weird little curl thing. And then it will keep pushing. It is going to force you to go. Like, fuck, it wasn't my plan to get a brain injury. And I thought it was the worst thing that could have happened until years later. And then I could see all the benefits. And so things happen and you don't realize all the benefits. Just think about, like, how lucky it was to not have to be working during the goddamn sickness thing. Like, if I would have still been in that fucking... And besides, if I was still working like that, I would still have this leech of a... Like, oh, God, I'm so glad how things went. People just don't realize. When you're fighting to hold on to something that you think is the only thing you got, you don't realize how much better things can get. Like, you just got to let go. You got to let go of what it is you're trying to hold on to. And you got to believe in yourself. We got to stop begging each other. Somebody save me. Somebody save me. Just give me some money. And then the fucking goddamn life preserver that everybody's like, just give me some money. Money. That's the solution. Give me some money. If I have some money, that's my solution. It's like, that's why it's all going to crash. It's all gonna motherfucking crash. And then when you see, like, how much corruption is built behind it, how many people are so fucking full of darkness, all for this fucking dollar bill, y'all. So it's like, it's created a real darkness, but that darkness has to come to the surface, and then it's gonna go. The dollar is gonna be a ghost. It's going to be a nothing to us at some point. It's going to be a memory. It's going to be something we talk about. And it's going to be something a lot of people are going to have to face their desperation to have it. And then, like, why did they give so much value to it? Because it's not, like, you should be asking the universe for homes. Like, you should be talking to the universe. And the universe knows. Like, the universe knows, but it's waiting for your communication. If you're just sitting here begging everybody for money, well, you got lessons. But when you start saying, okay, universe, I hear what you're saying. Show me where we're going. What are we doing here? And it may not, like, I've been fucking asking that for a while. I'm still waiting. But I know. And this is the thing, like, where Abraham Hicks, she would say, like, you got to stay focused on the, you got to believe it, know it. Well, the reason I believe it and know it is because I know it. It's not because I'm trying to force it. It's because I know it. It's because I've been shown, I've seen. Like, I know things are going to get better. How, when, or any of that stuff is the unknown. But that's where you got to learn to trust. And the trust in the path. That the reason why there is a time and space in between is because there's things that need to happen. There's occurrences that create where you're going. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, she should be going in a different direction. She doesn't know. Like, she should be looking up, like, communal housing and, like, on all that, I'm sure on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, because I see them on TikTok, that these people who are buying property, asking people to come out and, help establish their properties and stuff. There's one, even, I just saw a person who, they've got a whole farm now, and it's, they've got a whole big giant thing going, a whole bunch of animals and stuff, and so they're asking for somebody to, a couple to come out and help them run it. Like, there's all sorts of opportunities and stuff out there. But when you just keep thinking like the money's the answer, these people, the government, like, you are constantly going to them. Oh, we got to make shifts. We got to go towards each other. We got to go towards unity, towards community, towards a creation, us being the creators. And that's where we're going to, that's when we're going in a whole new direction. And it's going to happen. I mean, you can see it's happening slowly but surely. It's continuing to go. And that's the direction we're going to keep going. And, there's going to keep being these sad things happening. There's going to keep being people, taking out their families and families dividing, drama after drama. I told you there was going to be some big fucking dramas on of people being exposed and, like, humiliated. It's going to just keep going. And that is, like, to me, don't get all wrapped up in other people's stuff. You got to just keep trying to keep yourself in observation. Don't get all emotionally invested, especially to the point where you're threatening people's lives and stuff. Like, that is a broken part in our society. And there's a lot of mending and healing that has to be done. I mean, there's this one girl who, I know she's like a spiritual channel, and yesterday I saw her saying that she was reading comments, and she said, it's so obvious the split at this point. When you go in and read comments, you can see how people look at it. It's like two different perspectives. These two perspectives are going out to form, and it's like the splitting, this new earth thing. But see, it's us that break free from the box. It's us that start looking outside of the box. That's the new world. That's the new way of looking at things. So in the comments, when you hear people talking outside of the box and looking at things different, and the challenges as something to overcome and all of those things, that is the direction that we're going. These other people, they're still like, it's still like it's like a trapped into the 3D. But I don't think it's trapped. I don't think it's like trapped. Like, when you start stepping out, you start realizing how much of a mind trap it is. But when you're in it to learn. You're in it to win it. You're in it for a reason. So it's not like anybody's doing anything wrong. And there is no wrong or right. This is the experience that the universe is not allowing, but it's experiencing. It's like, how things can go in different directions, how this can be seen this way and this can be seen this way. Because when you're a real part of the three-dimensional way of thinking, you look at things very differently. And it's very, to me, it's very, there's a dependency to it. When you go in the other direction, it's going towards independence. Freedom is pulling free from their control, what they want, what they say, and all their stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of toxic shit about it. Like, yeah, why do you want to go to a fucking doctor who says they're going to save you when they're really fucking mad scientists who want to fucking, chop you up and see what happens? So it's, and some of them, they're just drug pushers. They don't fucking know. They're just like pushing the prescription pad. Here, give me another one. And get you convinced, like, well, this is what you got to have. And if you're not going to have it, you're rejected. Like, the medical will not deal with you. And then people start panicking. Well, I could get something worse. I could get cancer. I could die. I could do that. It's like, no, they are tricking you. You have to realize, like, you can pull free. And there is such a fucking giant thing on this book. This, They are really shadow banning anyone who talks about this. And so, and the woman's been arrested. And so it's all REMEDY and all natural. So it's got everything in it. And they just don't want us to know this. They don't want us to know we can cure ourselves. And you've got to give yourself time too. That's the thing. That's the thing about healing. Like, we want it instantaneously because we got to get to work. We got things to do. We got to go shopping. We got, we got plans. And so we want everything like right now, right now, right now. But your body doesn't go like that. You're pushing it and you're not being there for it. And when it's showing you that it's got something, you need to be a lot more like, oh, okay, we're going to take time to ourselves. But see, in their world that they created, there is no time for you. There's no time for you to be sick. There's no time for this. There's no time for that. Get to work. Get there. Get there. If you don't have your kids in ballet, tap, and fucking soccer, then what are you? You're a loser. Like, you better be overextended in every possible way. If you don't have a bunch of credit and a bunch of debt and a bunch of, then what are you doing? It's like, well, probably trying to live and not, be caught up in the bullshit. But you got to start seeing like that's no way to live. What they're trying to offer is no way to live. There's way better ways to live but it's also due to your priorities. Like, if you want to really get to know your kids, spend time with them and not be sending them off to school and like the whole thing. Like, there's so much destruction to our family unit. Like, but so many people get caught up in success and succeeding at work. And don't forget, they know how to use that filter system. They know which people to move up to keep them going, and then which ones to drop off and keep them down and depressed and keep them on drugs and stuff. Like, it's all fucking done on purpose. And it's not like a complete individual, although that they use our number to, well, how much could they take? Well, everything's gone wrong. Like, I'm definitely on mine. I'm definitely like in the horse track thing. I'm like the one they don't see coming. It's like, oh, there she comes from the rear. Here she goes. She's passing them all. Like, they don't see that. Like, they want to keep it to where it's controlled. But see, once you want, okay, I gotta think of how it was, because I could see that so perfectly. Is because when you oh yeah, okay, because when they do the thing on the numbers, and so there's something about that. Like, if you listen to the people who talk about that stuff, there's something about like when things go wrong for us, like that they're betting on that all the time. There's some kind of wager. And so all of the things that they, all the obstacles, and that you keep getting up and going, they don't see that coming. They see it as like, they can knock you off and you're in a, like after my brain injury, I could have been knocked off and living in a fucking dependency program in a nursing home, stuck in the lawyer thing, not having any money, all of that stuff. That is where they were trying to push. That is where the wager. Oh, can she get over this one? That's like how we're wager, but we're not. It's not like individual. I don't think it's more like energy kind of thing. Like, how much obstacles can you take? It's not like, I don't know. I don't think that they have like a picture of us and like they know, but it's more like, it is more like that they, and I don't know how to explain it because it's so fucking convoluted, because it's also like how they do stuff with their loans and stuff. It's like these whole packages. So is it like, like a whole group of people, like the losers, the ones that just can't get ahead? And it's like, okay, well, we're going to wager. Most of them are going to be like on drugs or dead or whatever at some point. And then when there's any that break free, like, fuck, I can see this, but I don't know how to explain them. but it's something about them and their money and how they watch. Like there's something to this thing about our birth certificate numbers. And uh, like even if you go and you look it up, there is there's it's like something about like how much you're worth. Like if your worth goes up because how many obstacles you can overcome or something. Like I don't know the whole thing how they do it, but there's something about it and about what and then they show it too in that movie, that Real Guy movie, is that they purposely create tension for us. Like all this stuff is created. Like they set out these instigators, these terrorists or what, to go and create so much tension, to fear and obstacles. And then it's like, like, I don't know if somebody who's overdosed a couple times and then gone to prison and then if that gives them more value or less value because they keep coming back, the comeback kid or something. Like, I don't know what it is that they find to be how they exactly do it. I just know that there's something to it. Like, why they're trying to beat us down. When you just keep coming back and coming back, that is like, it's like, it is like in a wrestling match or fight or something, and they get you down and the person's struggling to get back up, and then you get back up. It's like that. It's like they want to keep you on the down. They want to keep you down for the count. They want to beat you down. And I don't know if that's like their success. That's where like, oh, look, we did it again. And especially with somebody who you keep coming back and keep trying to overcome, and then they just keep punching you back. And, it's like we're battling against this force. But we have nature on our side. But you gotta call in your side. You gotta see that you have a nature on your side. That's working in harmony to find balance. And, that's where you stop, eating all their box chemicals and start taking care of yourself and get rid of the all of the parasites, because those suck the life out of you, and all the toxins, as they destroy you and set everything out of balance. And then you got to find the nutrients that you need and start filling your body full of them. And so, anyways, I'm all over the place. I'm almost lost in my own thoughts. like I don't even know. Like, hopefully I made sense. I've been rambling for a long time. Hopefully I've made sense. So hopefully I've explained it enough that I make sense. And I'm not just like jumping all over the place, because I feel like I'm just jumping all over the place. But anyways, to me, it's just, just self-observation of noticing yourself. And to me, it's like, look, I've noticed for sure that I say things I don't need to say. So, like, I'm going to try and be a lot more in the comments of, like, if somebody says something, just be like, thank you. And not be like, yeah, but what about this? What about that? And just because of, not because it's like somebody's bothering me or something. It's more like I'm just looking at myself of like, how much stuff do I say that doesn't need to be said? Like right now, just rambling away. How much of it doesn't even need to be said? I'm just up here in the morning talking my head off. So anyways, I'm just going to end here and tell you to remember to love yourself, to love everyone, and have a loving day. And I'll be back tomorrow for some more rambling. Talk to you later. Bye.